Technical difficulties is the name of the day. Ah, my phone completely stops working.
Okay, we're on.
Hi.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. Muy technical difficulty is the name of the day today. No bueno. All right.
Good.
Huh?
So I think we're good.
Yay. Okay, so it's a week before Christmas.
It's the week of Christmas.
It's the week of Christmas.
What even is today? The 21st? Oh, God. We have like 4 days.
Yeah.
I just like, oh my God, I think I'm past the Amazon cutoff deadline. Usually they send me an email and say, like, hi, the cutoff is today.
Yeah.
Go to the real store.
The last of my gifts are arriving today.
Today?
Yeah. So hopefully I'll wrap today and pack and be done with this year.
All right. Well, it is the week of Christmas. I stand corrected. And let's talk 2022 because we're almost there, which is really crazy, you guys.
I know.
Where did 2021 even go?
I don't know. I feel like it was April last week. I don't know what happened. I blacked out.
It's literally like I feel the same way.
It went really fast and it's really scary. So obviously craziest real estate market in history in 2021. So okay, let's start with what is going on in the market in each of our Jess is choking to death.
Yeah, she's dying.
Don't die live on Facebook. That would be so horrible. Okay, so let's start with like just a quick recap of what's going on in our little local area. So I'm in Parker and Douglas County, real close to Jess, and I would say the word of the real estate market today is weird. I don't really know what else to say. I feel like it's very unpredictable. There are times, and honestly, the weirdest part of it for me is it doesn't even seem to be like price point driven or area driven, but like there are times in the last 60 days where like I go to show a house and there's like no other showings. And it's like really quiet. And then there are times where the house is slammed, and there are times when so every buyer I've put under contract in the last 60 days, I've gotten under list price, which is a miracle. And I'm having actual literal PTSD about going back to the spring market because it sucks. And I wish that everyone would have listened when we said bye in November, December, because I don't want to go back to January, February, March. But then there are other times where like they have 20 offers and they're way over list. So like it's really weird here and it's very unpredictable. Angela, you're in Colorado Springs, so like 45 minutes to an hour south of us. What's going on down there?
Well, our market is primarily driven by military folks, and we always slow down this time of year, starting in like basically right at Halloween. But for some reason this year in particular, it seems like everyone is saying, holy shit, the sky is falling and our market's going to crash, when apparently people don't look at statistics. That's pretty common for us down here that it happens. Every price point, houses are sitting a little bit longer. People are going in and they're the only showing. I literally just went under contract on a house yesterday for a significant amount under asking price for me. And I sold my personal home at asking price without it being on the market. So, I mean, it really depends on the house. It's just kind of a crapshoot. But I am the last buyer's remorse for sure of houses going under contract and then falling out for no apparent reason to anyone, and then having to put the house back on the market and it sits a lot longer. That's what I'm seeing a lot of.
I did showings this weekend, and I feel like the news of interest rates potentially going up this weekend was probably the busiest weekend I've seen in 4 to 6 weeks. Every property we saw went under contract with multiple offers, whether it was under 500, and then I had another client that was 750. So I think that the news of interest rates going up is driving some of this really, really late year traffic that we don't normally see.
I don't know what the fuck is happening. How is that for like, I mean, and this is annoying to me. Like, I mean, I'm supposed to be like a veteran. I've done this for like 20 years. I'm supposed to know what is happening all the time. And you literally have to tell your clients right now, like, not really sure what's going to be happening. It is crazy. So, to give people that are watching like some background on how we usually do things in Colorado, so that like our predictions here make sense, and then you can think about them in your own area. So we are a very seasonal market. Obviously, we're a state that has a winter season, and so yeah, finger crossed winter season. But so statistically speaking, we do 100% of our equity appreciation since real estate recorded history, since we started keeping track of data and statistics. We do 100% of our equity appreciation between January 1st and the end of May. So that is our finger quotes selling season. June, July, and August are usually very quiet because they're the most vacationed months of the whole year. Everyone goes out of town. August, I feel like we go back to school earlier than any other state in the United States. Makes me insane. August, we go back to school. And then we see a little pop in like October, November. We have a pretty good fourth quarter, but it's definitely quieter. So our selling season is January through June. So what do you guys think happens in January this year?
I think that we get really busy again right away. If my phone is any indicator, I mean, I've got 6 listings coming on in January, which going back over just my personal business, I've never had that many listings coming on in the month of January. And so I think some of them are moving out of state, and then some of them are staying here, and they want to take advantage of the market starting to come back up, but not being in such a buyer's market on the, seller's market on the buy side, that maybe they can make both pieces of this work. So I think we're going to come into this really aggressively like we did last year. And I think we're going to flatline really aggressively like we did last year.
Well, if it's any indication, I went to a staging appointment with a very big investor here in town yesterday, and they do a ton of flips. When was the last time you saw a flipper staging every single one of their renos? Hasn't been for a while. Not here.
Long time.
They just contracted me for 50 of them next year. So why are they wanting to stage all of them? They think they're going to fly off the shelves, but they're afraid of appraisal. And so they want more offers, better offers, that kind of thing. So appraisal gap, because they see not a slowdown, they see an increase of probably another 5 to, what'd you say, 15, 16% the other day? Some crazy number or something?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, in Colorado, they're predicting that we go 16 to 22% up again in value.
Yeah. So if that happens and the appraisers are not on board, how do we get them on board? Unfortunately, we have to provide more comps, right? And so the best way to get comps in Colorado Springs is to find buyers that have the cash to make up the difference in the appraisal gap, because that's always a factor down here. So that's what they're trying to do with staging the house and bringing in more offers. And they're also trying to sell off market without realtors. So they're going to be doing that and using staging to help bring buyers in without realtors.
So I think this is going to be one of the most compressed years we've ever seen in real estate. That's another one of my predictions. As far as what you're talking about goes, as far as competition for agents goes, I think this will be one of the craziest years that we see, because the market has now trained itself that they don't need a real estate agent. So I think we'll see a huge amount of compression from sellers and buyers who want to represent themselves. And we continue to just see new licenses increase and increase and increase and increase. And so I think that the competition for agents will get even tougher. I think this is going to be a tough year.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a tough year, but I don't see it slowing down on the listing side. I think it's going to stay a seller's market.
No, but as far as like agent compression, I think, like last year, I talked to more agents that are very, very big producers that all said, like, I'm getting crushed this year. I'm not making any money. I can't get deals done, just because the compression is so crazy and there's so much competition out there. So that's one of my predictions, is that this year will be even worse, because I think this year we see even more of this, like, I want to represent myself stuff happening.
Mm-hmm.
I read something the other day that said, I think in the last 8 months in Colorado, 6,000 more real estate licenses have come through for approval with Dora. So we've gone from, I think it was 35,000, let's call it, and we're at like 42 now, 1,000 agents in Colorado. That's not even including like commercial agents and property management. That's just like residential real estate. That's a wild number to think about. And as of this morning, we only have like 2,700 houses on the market in the entire state.
Yeah.
No, this year's going to be brutal. I mean, I think people need to be prepared for compression wise. As a real estate agent, this year is going to be tough. It's tough to get buyers under contract. If you can get a listing, you're in good shape, but it will be tougher to justify your commission. And there's going to be a lot of competition. I think this is not a huge money year for agents, or if it is, it's a, man, at the end of 2022, I worked my ass off kind of feeling.
I mean, I just saw something interesting just happen. Josh set up a bunch of showings for this afternoon, and 4 out of the 5 homes are all listed by Zillow.
Mm-hmm. That's
almost everyone.
Right now.
Hang on. I'm going to pull up while you guys talk the number that they have. Every house that I have showed in the last 3 weeks is owned by Zillow, and they're just sitting there. We don't know what the hell they're doing with them, but they continue to list
the houses, but they're not going under contract. And if they are, like, I don't understand it. And because I feel like everyone keeps saying they still have 7,000 houses in their inventory. I feel like they're all right here.
Right. They just dumped a whole bunch.
Where else did they buy other than like South Metro Denver and Colorado Springs, I feel like.
Right. And why are they dumping them in the middle of the slowest part of the market? This really just tells me, like, they have no fucking clue what stats are and like when is a good time to, sell all of these houses all at once. They're competing with themselves. It's really
I don't know that they have a choice, because I think they have to offload them. But like at the same time, yeah, I don't know, dude. It makes 0 sense.
0 cents. And so like,
and I just checked my mail and I got an offer on my house, which is under contract for $800,000. I got an offer from OfferPad of $550. Dang.
So I think that's another interesting thing that we're kind of seeing with the Zillow fallout, because Open Door and all of those other iBuyers, they have come down exponentially on their offers. And I think it's because they're not competing anymore. And so I think we're going to see some flex from that. Like, I think maybe some people that would have originally listed with them, they're going to go back to calling like their regular real estate agent now, because they want that extra money. So I think there's going to be some weirdness from that even too. Like, are we going to have a little bit more inventory simply because the iBuyers aren't maybe as big of an issue this year? Like, I don't know. All of these things are true.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's crazy. So right now I'm looking up just Douglas County, which is where Jess and I live. There's 270 properties available in the entire county. And I am looking up to see how many of them are owned by Zillow. I showed one the other day, you guys, like, dead serious. I'm looking at the Zillow house here. There was Zillow, 6 of them on the same street. Like, do you guys not even have a map? You didn't even have a map to know that you're competing against yourself?
They were trying to buy them all up so that they could raise the value of all those houses in the neighborhood, and then they failed miserably.
Yeah, I showed one over the weekend that they had purchased for, I want to say it was $496, and it was listed at like $347 or something ridiculous. I mean, it was like,
Yeah.
And then the house next door had sold for, $325. So like they had bought so much higher than what the house was even worth at the time.
Yeah. I do see a lot of houses being taken off the market, or have been taken off the market. And this is a really good time if you're a buyer's agent with buyers to call on those expireds or call the agents that have them listed and negotiate without competition. Like we've got a couple clients in our brokerage under contract that way this month. The last 2 weeks, on very nice houses with no competition under asking price, like significantly under. It's a really good time to be able to do that. So use that to your advantage.
I don't want to go back to spring market, guys. Like, that's one of the things that is the toughest about real estate in general is like the minute that you get the minute that you figure out what the hell is going on, right? And then you feel confident about it, then everything changes again.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy. Like it has been very enjoyable the last 60 days getting like 11 different buyers under contract.
Yeah.
Under asking, and then we get to ask for inspection stuff, and it's been great. And like to have to pivot back to like the several buyers that I have that I'm working right now that haven't found something, like good Lord, you need a rosary and a priest for what's about to come your way, I feel like.
Well,
but conversely, you need a St. Joseph for your listing right now.
You do need a St. Joseph for your but I mean they have no, and I'm telling them obviously that the market is about to change, but like they have no realistic idea of what is going to happen when we hit January.
Well, and then you have then you've got the media. Like I talk about this all the time. Like the media is always 6 to 8 weeks behind what's actually happening. And so now they're all being told it's slow, get out there right now. Now's the time to get a deal on a house. And I'm like, yeah, at the beginning of November, that was the time to go out. Like I was fired by a buyer last night because they don't believe me about what's going on in the market. Like I don't know what else to tell you. Like this is the truth.
Tell the story of what happened.
I mean, I showed them 5 houses on Saturday. All 5 went under contract with multiple offers. They spoke to a newer agent, a friend of theirs, who said that that's not true. They had sent me 2 or 3 houses on Sunday that they were interested in. I contacted the agent. The agent said he had cash offers and it wasn't even worth my time to drive and show them the properties because they wouldn't even consider a loan at this point because they had so many cash offers. And they were told by a new agent that that's not true, that I'm lying. I just don't want to show them property. All of those houses are under contract. And then the houses that they were interested in, that they wanted to go see yesterday, they had offer deadlines of the day before and were reviewing contracts yesterday. So therefore, there was no point in going to see them because they were going under contract. So, I think we're in this weird world where when you're honest, people don't like it, right? Because they maybe have somebody on the other side saying whatever they need to say to get a client, which comes back to Lindsay's point about the most compressed market we're going to see. And I mean, I've been fired twice in the last month. I've never been fired before. And it's been for reasons like this.
That's so sad to me. First of all, we've talked a lot on this show. We've talked this to like death about how you really need to set proper expectations in order to be ethical towards your clients. Like this year, we talked about this. We have a whole episode about this. This year, the price of a community, of a neighborhood, the entire neighborhood could go up $50,000 a week. No exaggeration, no bullshit, which meant that like literally in 2 weeks, if you couldn't get your buyers a house, they were completely priced out of the neighborhood. They can't even look in that neighborhood anymore. So if you don't tell them the truth and you let them drag on looking for like 6 months, they're priced out of the whole city.
Yep.
I
guess to be fired because you're honest. I mean, I guess that's okay. I'd rather be fired for that than be fired for being unethical and filling their heads with, unicorns and rainbows and everything's wonderful and great. And we can get concessions and we can get inspection items and we can get all these things. That's not true, below 500. That's not true below 400. Like there's slim pickings in that price range in our area. So, just getting under contract and getting into a house is a really great thing in those price points.
I mean, I do feel like it is unethical to not tell people the truth. Now,
is it unethical if you don't understand the market? I mean, like, that's what I always come back to. Like, if you're not actually working in this market every single day, how can you even properly advise a buyer or a seller in the market that we exist in currently, because you're not currently in the market yourself?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point, but I think that it's wrong to not tell people the truth. I mean, we won't be in a market like this forever. It won't stay like this forever, but for right now, not telling people the truth, it harms them, like actually harms them. And no, we're not doctors. We didn't take an oath that says do no harm, but we could get in a lot of trouble, I feel like, for not telling people the truth. And it's wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how to answer your question, Jess. Is that other agent just really salesy and they really just want, or they're desperate, they really need that and want that client? Or do they have zero idea what the hell is going on because they're not actively working in the market? I don't know the answer. We started saying at the beginning of 2021 here on the show, this is the most skill-based market in recorded history. And it's because of stuff like this. It's because things change literally 3 times a day and 20 times by the end of the week. And if you're not out there actively doing what you're supposed to be doing in the market, you literally have no idea what's going on. And then you really are screwing people over.
Right. Which is why when we're in the peak of the market, we're still getting offers from agents that have no idea about the market, coming in under or at asking price when everyone else is at 20 or 30 grand over. And they're wondering why their offer isn't getting accepted. It's because they have no idea how to set expectations for their clients because they're not actively selling homes in our market.
Or it's the flip. And they are, the market's cooled just a little bit and they're offering $50,000 over.
Right. When
maybe they could get it at asking price or, $5,000 over. Like, it's nuts out there. If you, and listen, I literally just opened this show today by saying, I don't know what the fuck is going on. And I'm in this market, and so are you guys all day long, every single day, right? But like, it's even difficult for me to track what's going on.
Because it changes every day.
It changes. It'll change by 5 o'clock tonight, and we'll be like, oh, well, thank God we got our offer in at 8 a.m. because everything shifted again. But, I also just come back to, are we so attached to the outcome as agents, meaning your commission check, that you will say anything that you can to secure a client right now? And I think that that's a lot of what we're seeing. And I think when you talk about a skill-based market, these are people who are getting their real estate license because the perceived notion is that this job is really easy. Mm-hmm. And so when you have no other way to pay your bills, right, or you haven't produced enough this year to have savings or insert whatever you want here, you will say whatever it takes to close a client and to get a new buyer and to get a new listing. And it doesn't really matter, unfortunately. And that's something that really bothers me on a really deep level in this business.
So I just ran all of the numbers because we were talking a second ago about Zillow, how much inventory, because we're saying feels like every single house that we're showing is owned by Zillow. So in Douglas County, they are holding 3.7% of of all of the active homes, almost 4% of all of the active properties in Douglas County. And honestly, the almost other 90% is all new builds. So
that doesn't surprise me.
There's almost no resale active listings. Zillow is holding almost 4% of everything that is active, and the rest is builders.
Speaking of builders, I'm sure you guys have seen that some of them have decided not to, in 2022, pay a co-op agent. I believe that that's coming from a place of, holy shit, we have no idea how we're going to build all these houses and we got to slow it down somehow.
And margin.
Not necessarily from a, we don't think agents bring value proposition.
It has nothing to do with, no, it has nothing to do with we don't think agents bring value. It has to do with we need to slow it down. And it also has to do with this is the biggest heyday for profits in the history of building. So, you know, we're just going to keep growing our margins and growing our margins by cutting anything that we can. It's just a margin price decision.
What we're seeing down here is massive build quality issues, which I'm sure you guys are seeing up there too. But it's pretty glaring to the point where I have not sold a new build in quite a while. Most of our clients are going towards homes that are older, that can be renovated pretty easily, lipstick flips, that kind of thing, because they don't see the value in paying a ton of money for a house that can blow over in that amount of wind that we got. I mean, literal houses, wood everywhere, like neighborhoods full of just
that windstorm that we had last week. I had
Yeah.
2 new build clients, their houses are destroyed.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One
What
up in
happened?
Erie and one in Frederick.
What happened?
With that windstorm, they were at frame
It
and
came
the
down.
house fell.
They fell?
Literally fell, and they terminated and got their earnest money back because now they're pushed out again. I mean, literally, it was like popsicle sticks, all just like Angela's talking about, everywhere.
And so that terrifies the shit out of anyone, because we've got homes that are built that aren't blowing away or blowing to pieces, but the ones that are under construction are falling apart and blowing over. Why is that? What's going on? Part of it is they don't have sheathing on them yet, and so the house isn't, you know, solid. But another part of it could be some quality issues. At least that's what's being brought up to me by clients. So
Of course it's quality issues. It's like we have no materials, we have no labor
yeah,
force. Yeah, of course it's quality issues, you know, like how could it not be?
I'm
And then I
trying
have
to-
clients who have been under contract on a new build for 18 months and they just are framing this week.
Yep.
It's absolutely wild out there. Okay, so I think what's going to happen is I, for some reason, feel like the first 2 weeks-ish of January are going to be a little weird.
Mhm.
And then I think it's going to kick off end of January, like 3rd to 4th week of January instead of
Yeah.
1st to 2nd like normal, because I think people are like, what the fuck has been going on the last 2 years? I think people... So first of all, Angela, you hit the nail on the head. I can't tell you the number of people that I'm talking to who are saying, well, the market's going to crash.
Mhm.
Oh my God, you guys. Okay, so the number one reason that they're saying that, which I'll post this in the comments, I did a post on it yesterday, but the number one thing I keep hearing is this shadow inventory. Here we go again. We did a whole episode on this. The shadow inventory of forbearances is going to push us into a market crash. Well, here's an interesting statistic. Out of the 7 to 8 million homes that were in forbearance, there's now less than 1 million of them that are still sitting in forbearance. Everyone else has either rectified their loan, they've sold, they've, refinanced, they've done whatever they've needed to do. So now we're down to under 1 million still in forbearance across the country. We know, because we ran these numbers earlier this year, that in order to balance, that does not, like, this is where I think everyone gets confused, agents a lot included. There is a difference between a market like, I don't know what the fuck this market is that we've been in the last year. Then there's a seller's market. Then there's a balanced market. Then there is a buyer's market. And then there is a crash, right? So like to go from here to here right now is literally impossible, because we need somewhere between 10 and 11 million housing units across the United States
To even get balanced.
to get balanced, not even to crash, you guys. So, I think that that's done. Forbearance. And we said this, we said it and we were right. We said this for weeks. There's like 10 episodes of us talking about this. We said the forbearance inventory isn't going to touch anything, because even if all 7 million of those houses that were in forbearance actually foreclosed. It's not enough inventory to balance the market. And that's exactly what happened.
Well, and I had read an article, I'll have to find it and post it in the comments also, that had said that 60% of the houses still currently in forbearance are in the secondary market, like second homes and things like that. And that a lot of the banks are working with those people more than they are your primary residences, because the Airbnb and the VRBOs and all of those things, you have so many state by state and county by county and city by city rules right now due to COVID that they're more willing to work with you. So a lot of these houses, we're talking like here in Colorado, they'd be in the mountains. Like, are a lot of people looking at $2, $3, $4 million houses in the mountains? I don't know the answer to that. I'd say no. But I don't think that even the inventory that's there, let's pretend it all came on the market. Like it's not even for normal buyers.
Well, right? At this point, less than $1 million, it isn't going to do anything. It wasn't going to do anything when it was over 7 million. It's not going to do anything less than $1 million. So that's number one reason why the market's not going to crash. Number two reason why the market isn't crashing, we've talked about this before too. But pre-recession, and I was in the business back then, no one walked around all day long having these conversations about the market crashing. We have legitimate and fair PTSD from going through the recession, right? And so now this crashing language is a part of our vernacular when it didn't even exist before. We didn't walk around all day long going, oh my God, Angela and Jess, when do you think that the market's going to crash? It's coming. We're on a cycle and we're up here and what goes up must come down. That's just not something that we talked about, right? And so, it is funny to see how much chatter in real estate, both on the public side and the real estate agent side, is geared around when are we going to crash? A seasonal slowdown isn't a crash. And that is something that a lot of people that I'm talking to, I see these posts in these groups every day. I'm talking to the public every day. A lot of people are saying this, they're going like, well, but November and December weren't good. So definitely that is a trend. Now we're up, we're starting to slide down the scale and everything's going to crash.
No. I have a message from somebody moving here from out of state that said they want to rent for a year because they don't know what the future holds and they believe that the real estate market is going to crash and they don't want to dive into something and be upside down in a home a year later. This was a message the other day. And so I pulled the statistics from the last 5 years through the MLS showing that like the dip that we're in currently statistically is a normal dip. And
let me ask you guys a question. Serious question. You're buying a TV. And the TV is, I don't know, let's say the TV is $2,500. Okay. That's the market price for the television. It's $2,500. On Black Friday, for one day and one day only, the TV goes on sale for $2,300. So it's $200 off. Then on Saturday, the day after Black Friday, the TV goes back up to $2,500. What day do you buy the TV?
Friday.
I don't wait in line. So,
but my point is, you buy when things slow down. When things get quiet, that is where the opportunity is. That's what people don't seem to understand anymore, because I think we no longer know how to communicate that message as real estate agents. Real estate is a long-term hold. It's not a fucking stock that goes up on Monday and down on Tuesday and up on Wednesday. It's a long-term hold. And as long as you hold something long-term, you will make money on it. Even people who lost their asses on their houses during the recession and held on to them, now they're worth a freaking fortune. You buy when things dip. The second that things dip, that is when you purchase literally anything. So I don't get this whole, well, it just dipped in November and December. I shouldn't buy in November and December because that means I'm going to be upside down. Honey, no, you're getting the TV on sale. You need to buy.
Who bought a house in this three of us in November, December?
Well, right? I'm trying to, but I can't get an offer.
Right? I literally, while we've been on this call, just got a text message from one of my lenders that said, I want you to lock your house right this second. And he's not even my lender on this house that I'm buying. He said, UMBS 30-year, 2.5%. Day change, minus 36 BPs. At 10 a.m., it changed to minus 25 BP.
Money's on sale. What don't we get about that? You guys, money is on sale. Like, how many times have we seen these graphics that say, don't buy when prices are low, buy when rates are low, because this is how it affects you. You guys, we have to, as an industry, we have to get better about this stuff. Like, we have to learn, and we have to learn how to become more knowledgeable, because clearly the public isn't at all. And clearly we are not doing a good job talking about this stuff. Money is on fucking sale.
Well, that's like somebody the other day was bragging about buying a house cash, which I think is really great and phenomenal. And like, what an amazing accomplishment, whatever. I don't care. Why? Like, that was my first question. Why would you take all of that money, that liquidity, put it into a house when you can borrow the same amount of money, right? For 2.5%, like you're getting on a freaking jumbo loan, for Christ's sake. Why? And then you would still have the liquidity and the asset that you have with your cash. And now you also have an asset with a house. Like, why? And you get the tax write-offs and the mortgage, like all these things. Like, why are we buying cash with houses right now, right?
We shouldn't be, and we should be taking our cash and turning it into other property investments. I mean, like, literally, you guys, the United States government is basically paying people to buy properties. What is wrong with us? And people are sitting here going, oh, it's not a good time to buy.
It's not a good time to buy. I mean, we're intending on purchasing in the next 6 weeks again. I mean, we're going out and purchasing again, and then we're going to go buy another one again, because
I have 8 offers out right now. Like,
my son needs a house. We're going to go and, buy my son a house, and maybe we'll keep our flip house. Maybe we'll, like, I have no idea. The point is, because money is so cheap to borrow right now, look at all the fucking options we have, you guys. Like, you have options to build wealth very quickly right now.
Very quickly, faster than ever in United States history, in world history, in my opinion. Like, and to say to your clients, well, okay, so you're worried that maybe your property value might be a little bit upside down next year. I mean, are you going to sell next year? Is that the point? Like, are you buying a property and then you intend to only live in it for a year and sell it? Or is this a long-term investment for you, at least over several years? Because you do have the very high likelihood of earning money on your investment over the next few years. I just, like, this stuff makes me
crazy.
So happy.
I mean, like, think about like a $400,000 investment right now here in Denver, right? If you decided to do what you just said, which is to sell it just in 1 year, based on a 22% appreciation, that's $88,000 that you will make in 1 year. Cool.
But you have to break it. I mean, we're not breaking this down. This is such a soapbox for me. And listen, I'm making a Facebook post as soon as I'm done here, and I will post it on the HOMEgirls, and everyone can copy and paste it to their clients. But I don't talk about it enough. None of us are talking about it. I don't know why. Why aren't we talking about this? Like, this is life-changing, generational wealth creating times. And there are people out there going, I don't want to buy, right? Because I think the market is going to crash. Worst case scenario, if the market does crash, you're in a house that you love at the dumbest fixed for life until you die and pay it off interest rate of all time. Do you know what was scary? What was scary was back before the recession, when we were doing 2-1 buy downs, right? Where your first year was at 1% less. Your first year was 2% less than market rate interest rate. Your second year was 1% less than market rate. And then at year 3, it would adjust to whatever market rate was. So you could go from like 2% interest to like 8% interest in 3 years. That was scary. It's not the same. Like, I just don't.
2.5% interest. At that rate, it is stupid not to buy something. It's a really bad investment to not buy a house right now.
I mean, everyone's like, Bitcoin. Listen, dude, I have money in Bitcoin. I'm loving playing with it. I have money in the stock market. I'm loving playing with it. There is not one fucking investment I have ever made in my entire life that has paid off like my real estate investments. I purchased in the recession. I've owned 5 homes. Every single one of those houses has paid me 5 figures. The house that I'm in right now, I'll be in 3 years in May. And that property, like I have like $350,000 in equity. $350,000 in 3 years. That's $100,000 a year. That's like someone's salary every single year. Like, how do we not get more passionate about getting people to understand this stuff? Oh, the market's going to crash. Cool. If the market crashes, maybe I lose a little bit of my $350,000. Do you know how much it would take for me to go back down to zero? And if I went back down to zero, I'm still sitting in a house that I love in a nice neighborhood, and my payment is dick shit because I got a great interest rate.
It's funny because like we all know, like I'm the one that holds on to all the money and all. And now that I'm like, wait a minute, right? Like I'm the one that's out like, Ian, let's go look at this. Ian, let's look at that. Let's go buy this. Let's invest in that. And like once you get a taste of it and realize this is actually how you build wealth and set your family up, it's an addiction. I mean, that's just what it is.
I also want to say, because we have so much military down here, you are getting BAH. You're getting a base allowance for housing. The government is giving you free money for a house every month. And if you live on base, you're giving it back to them. You're fucking stupid. Get your credit where it needs to be and go buy a damn house. I don't care who you use as a realtor, but let them pay for you to make up the gap between what the shit rate that you're getting paid every month, which just went up, thank God, so you can afford to live here realistically, and what you should be getting paid, which is the amount of equity that you're going to have in your home that they're going to pay for you. Like, just go do that. Like, I can't impress that upon you. Like, I'm prior military myself. Like, go buy a damn house. Like, these people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars when they're moving in 3 years. You're owning a home for 3 years and you're making several $100,000. If you're living on base or living in an apartment, you get shit. Zero.
Nothing.
Think about that.
People who rent are making everyone else outrageously fucking wealthy right now.
Yeah.
Outrageously. I didn't intend to like come on here and start screaming and ranting, but it's like, this is so crazy to me. I mean, those poor kids that text you and said, well, we don't want to buy for a year because we don't know what the market's going to do. I mean,
kids, this is like
never going to buy.
Man.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I just assumed they were children. But I mean, like this could be, we don't know, but this could maybe never change. You know, I mean, the statistics and the things that are going on, they're really weird. It's really scary. It's the same way that I said earlier this week, what just happens in Colorado if it just never snows this year? Like, has that ever happened before? No, but it feels like it could. It's the same thing with the real estate market. What happens if this just continues? Because we can't build fast enough to make up the gap that we need in housing. Rent is up, sales prices are up. You know, I mean, what's happening right now is like this giant bottleneck of really scary stuff that could last a very, very long time, if not forever. I mean, us in Colorado and in many parts of the country, we have been very lucky for generations to live in places that were wildly affordable, which it still is here in Colorado compared to a lot of places in the United States. There have been places like Canada. We talked to Walker Adair. You've never been able to afford to buy in Canada ever, or Manhattan, or Northern California, Bay Area. Like, this could stay. And I've had clients come from Bay Area who've said to me, like multiple clients, the only way that you will ever own a home in the Bay Area is if someone in your family passes away and you are the lucky one that's in the will that gets the house. That is literally the only way that you will be able to afford a house there. That doesn't change. That's not changed in 100 years in California. So why do we suddenly think that Colorado doesn't become that?
I think knowing that Christmas is coming in a few days, and some people might be hard to buy for, and Amazon is no longer going to get here in time, the best thing you could do with your money is put down some earnest money on a damn house. That's the best gift that you could give to somebody, i.e. your family, is growing your wealth and building a home or buying a home for your family.
I mean, parents right now are like, oh my God, how are my kids going to get a start? Parents, you should be out here right now before this gets way worse, before it's the end of 2022 and we're into 2023 and interest rates are double or whatever, a point, 2 points higher than they are right now. Buy them a property, secure your children's future for them right now, earn money yourself out of it. Like, what are we doing? I think we really have been stuck in this like PTSD of, oh, things are going to crash, and it's clouded our minds so much that we're not rationally thinking about this being, it's like, it almost feels like life or death. Like, that's really dramatic, but it's bad. And it's just going to continue to compress more and more and more and more. And it's just going to continue to get harder and harder and harder.
I feel like I think of it like almost insider trading a little bit. Like, right now is the time that you want to be buying a home. Because it's going to get crazier and crazier and harder to buy. Why wouldn't you buy now? It's like buying Bitcoin for like a penny. Like, just
money is on fucking sale and the houses are at fucking sale. What are we doing?
Yeah. Just buy a house. So that way next year, when you have $88,000 of equity, you can take that equity and then go buy another house and keep the one you currently have. And then do it again and do it again. If you don't buy a house in the first place, you're never going to be able to do that.
And listen, there is a whole generation of us who went through this recession, who are very afraid, who really do have PTSD about the market crashing again. And maybe you're never going to change any of those people's minds, but like, we have to get better about talking about this stuff. Yeah. We stand up here as real estate agents and say, we build American dreams and we change families and all this stuff, like, but then we don't.
How many realtors rent? Let's be real for a second.
Oh,
like,
my God.
Agents have never even been able to purchase their own house because they have no idea what they're doing, let alone being able to articulate to you how to help you build wealth and invest. I mean, let's get real for a second.
I'm gonna shut my mouth on that one. That's a whole
listen, I get part of it. Like, you know, it's scary. Like, you have a relationship with your preferred lender. You don't want to call them and have them go through all your financial shit. You don't want to admit what's going on, right? Like, phone a lender. Nobody cares. Use someone else that doesn't know you. Get your fucking taxes in order, right? Like, or go find a pro. Listen, dude, even hard money is on sale. Even shitty loan programs money is on sale. Go buy a house with subprime paper and get it at a shitty interest rate and then refinance when you get your shit together. Just go buy property.
Yeah.
This is going to come down to, I'm telling you, like, over the next 5 to 10 years, wealth will have transferred in this country big time.
Yeah.
Well, and they say that the biggest income disparity that will ever be is right now and will continue to grow like that and it will become a canyon. And there will no longer be a middle class. And so part of the way to do that is to build wealth through real estate.
I mean, go back to the founding of this country. I just watched Hamilton the other day, so I'm like obsessing over history. Go back to the founding of the country. Who were the wealthiest people?
People that own land.
Landowners. It has been that way since the dawn of time in any country, in any place in the world. And I don't understand how we lost. So the whole American dream, by the way, in the first place was supposed to be that you came here and you were able to own land. No one had to grant it to you. The king, the duke didn't have to give you your land. You were able to just become a landowner. So I don't understand how we lost sight of the fact that truly owning real estate since the dawn of time has been the number one thing to be the most proud of and the number one thing that should be the most important.
Yeah.
Well, and let me leave you with this scenario. I had a client last year who used a down payment assistance program to purchase a house. They got back $11 at closing. So it cost them, they were paid to purchase a house at the beginning of the pandemic. We just sold their property that they purchased with down payment assistance funds that they didn't use any of their own money. And they made $112,000 off of that house that they got paid to buy in March of 2020. And then we just sold it a month ago and they made $112,000 off of a house that they paid $0 to buy.
So what I be doing is
I'm stealing that for my post. Sorry, by the way.
just get your family and yourself and your finances in a place where you can qualify for a loan. It doesn't matter what kind of loan, just get yourself in a place where you qualify for one.
And then get yourselves a damn good realtor who's going to negotiate the shit one way or the other for you and do a damn good job on your behalf, and then get you into your next home, which is exactly what we did.
And if you're smart, okay, that was really rude. That was rude, because people who don't own houses are not smart. That came out really rude. I'm sorry. So if you are financially solid and you have money sitting in the bank, or you have a credit score above 700, figure out a fucking way to go and buy more property today. If you own properties, look at restructuring and selling and HELOCs and where you're going to get the most out of things, right? Like,
the rate is so good. Like, and you have equity, refinance your house, free up some of that cash, go buy something else.
We just did that too. Like, we've done all the things the last 8 weeks.
Money is on sale.
A really good lender that's going to call you and tell you, like, hey, you need to lock your rate right now. Hey, now is actually a really good time for you to refinance your house and free up some of that equity, not look at whatever's coming in the mail. Like, seriously, the people that you have in your sphere are so important, especially when the market dips a little bit like it does every year. This is now like the perfect storm of, it's the best possible time for you to get into a property.
Oh, but the market's going to crash. Krista's clients made $93,000 in 3 years off probably what, like $1,000 investment, because they did down payment. Guys, that is life fucking changing money. What are we doing? Why are we sitting in Facebook groups going, do you think the market's going to crash? Why aren't we articulating this message to people? And listen, if the market does crash, what do we do when things go on sale?
Buy them.
Fucking buy.
That's what the conversation we had the other day sitting in my office, me and my husband, was, if there's all this chatter about a recession, what are we doing to position ourselves to go take advantage of the recession? If there's not chatter of a recession, what are we doing to take advantage of the fact that money is literally free to borrow right now? And it's interesting because when you do try to articulate this to people, especially in a Facebook group, they don't get it, right? Like, they don't understand it. And so, to answer your question, I don't know if we're not talking about it, because sometimes I feel like there's no point in talking about it. Like, people are set in their ways. And I think when you come from a very, and I can say this because Lord Jesus knows I was this person even a short 6 months ago. When you are living in scarcity and you are afraid of investing and you're not sure, you don't really hear what people are saying to you anyway. So I don't know if maybe that's part of why we're not having these conversations.
I think we're afraid, like, it happens to all of us, right? Like, I mean, what was the first thing that every single real estate agent, myself and all three of us included, did it last year when we shut down for COVID? We panicked. We went into our iPhones and turned off every subscription that we're paying for that we could possibly save 99 cents on, right? Like, we went back to buying Kroger brand instead of, like the designer things. We stopped I shut down a $20,000 bathroom remodel. Like, we went into scarcity really fast because we are afraid, because our generation has been through hard financial times, and that is real. And, I don't mean to take that away from people. It is real, but what about the scarcity of looking backwards 5 years in time and going, man, I did not set myself up for the future.
Right. This is our time. Seize the day. Capitalize on it. It's not fair right now. It's like winning the lotto.
Apparently that's our market prediction.
That's what they say, right? So. Can't win.
No, I mean, our market prediction is buy. Go out and tell everyone to buy, right?
When you can borrow a lot of money for 2.5%, like, what are we even talking about right now? It's like the easiest game of Monopoly that's ever been created.
Yep.
I think the other thing that happens to buyers and sellers, like, so this happens to me. I know it's kind of happening to Angela. Jess has talked about this. We've all talked about this, right? Like, when prices go up very quickly, it's hard to, like, mentally wrap your brain around what they are. So, like, I bought my house at $550. My house is now worth like 8 something. I don't even know, high 8s. And that would mean what I would upgrade into would probably be like 1.2 or 1.3. That's where I would want to go. But, there's something disgusting thinking about 1.2, 1.3, right? That's like, it's gross. Like the most expensive home I've ever purchased was 900,000, which is now worth 1.6, which is a whole other
We're not going to talk about it.
conversation. But, so that is like, that's hard. And I think there's a tremendous amount of people that are sitting out there going, well, I'm not going to go from 550 to 1.3. That's disgusting. But we have to be able to learn how to have the conversation about, well, you have this much in the house, rates are this, your payment would look like this, right? Like there's a lot of wash happening, but we're not communicating that to people either.
I mean, like, look at my house. Like our original house that we lived in before we bought this one, we paid $220 for on an FHA, 3.5% down, maybe 4% down. I think our interest rate was 4.75. We bought this house. We put 200 down because that's what we made off of the other house. Our interest rate on this one was a full point less, 375. We paid 560 for our house. Our payment on this house was the same as our 220 house. Like that's crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I have a very similar story. So
Money is on the sale. Houses right now,
it's like Black Friday.
I think for the next like 4 months, they're on the sale. Go buy. Go tell people to buy.
It's like using a coupon that's going to expire very quickly. Use the coupon.
Yeah. I mean, when is the next time that they audit rates again?
I think a few weeks. It sounds like.
Okay, so then hang on, I'm going to look. I'm going to look for a real date. When every single person on planet Earth that's watching this show, if you're a buyer or seller, you need to go buy before that happens. And if you are a real estate agent, you need to help people figure out why they need to buy before that happens. When is the Fed going to look at rates again? Because that gives us a hard deadline.
Which, I mean, also for me begs the question, like, why are investors going cash? Why aren't they just borrowing money too? Or are they going in cash and then refinancing,
pulling out equity
just to secure the property, and then they go in, right?
Yeah, that's that buy, renovate.
Yeah.
That whole, yeah.
Or
they're stupid.
A lot of them are hard money loans with investors. A lot of them are.
Well, that's what we used.
That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
When does the Fed meet next?
They just met.
Yeah, I know.
So it should be, I think they said the first rate increase would be January, February, March. John Jarvis just commented, and he's the lender.
Feds are going to raise rates in March after they're done with their bond purchasing program. Thanks, John. Okay, so it is December. It's the week of Christmas. Every single person watching this show has a mission. They are either going to buy something by March. By the way, if you're a real estate agent and you listen to this and you're like, I really want to invest, I have no idea how any of that works. Like, reach out to one of us. If we don't know, then we will get you to someone that does. We all do investments in our own ways, but we're connected to like tons of people that can help you with whatever you want to do, you guys. So reach out. But so you're either going to buy something by March, or you're going to stand up on the rooftop and shout in a data-based, logical manner why everyone that you know should purchase something by March.
And we would like to hear from you and see who that listens to us has bought a home before March. Like, we'll check back and see like who's done what we told them to do, and now where are you at?
I'm about to
we need to put a tip jar or something on here.
I'm about to go clean some shit up and go put my house on the market. Perhaps.
I wasn't planning on doing it last week.
Oh, okay. John says, don't wait until March as rates are going up as we speak due to inflationary numbers coming in so hot. No, we know. But like, we're slow, John. My hair is brown now, but we're a bunch of brunettes who in this industry take a minute to figure out how numbers work. And we take a minute to figure out how to tell people what to do. So give us a second, but we'll figure it out.
I mean, who's on vacation typically from Christmas until after New Year's?
Me.
All of us, right? Realtors. So guess what? That's less competition in the marketplace.
Okay, I'm going to bring up a tool that we talked about that I brought up a couple weeks ago. I'm going to bring up HomeBot again, you guys. If you aren't using HomeBot, use the freaking HomeBot. Go and get the HomeBot today. Put every client you've ever had, put every single human on planet Earth who's willing to give you an email address into your HomeBot and start sending people their market value. And then do me a favor and don't just send it. Try to have a conversation with them about what that means for them. Like, what do you know about these people? Do they have debt to pay off? They're literally sitting on a checking account. Every American that owns a home is sitting on a checking or a savings account right now, right? So they either need to refinance, they need to HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit, and pull money out. They could cash out, refinance, or they could sell and purchase. But why do we even have any problems with money in this country right now when everyone's sitting on a checking account?
A literal gold mine.
It's crazy pants. You know, if you're a real estate agent, you're struggling, you need to pay your taxes or pay your debt off, go talk to a lender. You're sitting on money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we made everything as liquid as possible so that we could act whenever we see something that we're interested in or something that makes financial sense. Like we've positioned ourselves to be able to do that right now.
That's what leverage is. And if you're not ready when an opportunity presents itself, then you lose the opportunity and then you feel really stupid and you blame yourself if you're not ready when the opportunity comes.
But this is opportunity. This is opportunity. And I do feel for the newer agents that don't know this yet, because this is opportunity on a different scale than we've ever seen before, right? Like this is going to change everything, I think, for a long, long time. So,
well, and also get your taxes ready, because if you want to leverage what's going on, you need to be ready to file ASAP, as much as we all don't want to, but you're going to need your 2021 tax returns to be able to keep going. So mine are ready to go, ready to file, and you guys should all be ready to go too, so that we can keep leveraging and moving forward that first quarter of the year.
I just heard a story this week about an agent who I love and respect and who I've idolized for a very, very long time, who's here in my market, who someone just told me this week has a $1.5 million tax bill.
I believe it.
Oh, everyone is. I mean, no one pays their damn taxes in real estate, but if she's listening, she should go and, yeah, but you're literally the only person, but she should go and reconsolidate some of her real estate investments and pay the IRS, because you pay interest on that too.
Mm-hmm. Higher interest than what your HELOC would be currently to pay it off.
Word. Okay, well, that went in a completely different direction than I was expecting, but I still think that it was wildly important.
Beneficial.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, happy all the things.
Go buy a house.
Go buy a house.
Right now. Right now. Love you guys.